Have you ever sat in a quiet room, looked at their empty chair, and wondered how silence could feel so loud? Have you ever tried to make a cup of tea, only to realize you're still reaching for 2 cups instead of one? Have you ever woken up, just for a second, thinking they were still beside you? If you have, you're not alone. Losing a spouse isn't just about losing a partner. It's losing a rhythm, a language only the two of you spoke, a history that no one else shared. It's not just the grief of death. It's the grief of everyday life without them. And for seniors, especially those in their 60s, 70s, 80s, or beyond, that loss often hits deeper than words can describe. You've spent decades building a life together, and now, suddenly, you're expected to keep going, to smile, to move on. But how? What no one tells you is that in the days, weeks, and even years that follow, there are quiet mistakes we begin to make. Not out of carelessness, but out of pain, confusion, and survival. Mistakes that slowly shape the rest of our life, whether we know it or not. Today, we'll talk about 7 of those mistakes, gently, honestly, and without judgment. If you've made them, you're human. If you're making them now, you're not broken. And if you're ready to heal, even just a little, this video is for you. Because even after loss, life can still hold meaning. Even after heartbreak, peace is still possible. And even after goodbye, you are still here, and you still matter. Let's begin. Mistake 1. Pretending you're okay too soon. Grief doesn't follow a schedule. It doesn't check a calendar or keep track of days. It arrives in waves, some gentle, some crushing. But many seniors, especially those raised in generations where emotions were rarely shown, fall into a quiet pattern. They pretend they're okay long before they are. You tell friends, "I'm fine." You smile when your children ask if you're lonely. You say, "I've made peace with it," when deep down you're still aching. But grief that's buried doesn't disappear. It waits. And over time it can harden into something heavier: bitterness, numbness, exhaustion, or even illness. When Mary lost her husband of 52 years, she threw herself into routines. She cooked, cleaned, visited church, kept herself busy. But when she came home each night, she would sit on the edge of their bed and cry into his pillow. She never told her children. She didn't want to burden anyone. After 6 months, she collapsed at the grocery store. The doctor said it was stress. Her grief had found its way into her body. Grief needs space. It needs tears, silence, conversation, memory, and most of all, it needs honesty. It's okay not to be okay. It doesn't mean you're weak. It means you loved deeply. And love, like that, doesn't vanish in a few months, or even a few years. Don't rush your heart. Let it speak. Let it break. Let it heal gently in its own time. Mistake 2. Isolating yourself from the world. After loss, the world feels different, quieter, less inviting. You go to the store and the cashier asks, "How are you?" But you don't know how to answer. You sit at church and suddenly notice how many people are there in pairs. Even laughter from the television sounds strange, like a language you forgot how to speak. And so, slowly, you begin to pull away. You stop answering the phone. You say no to invitations. You cancel appointments. You convince yourself that you prefer being alone. But isolation isn't the same as peace. It's a protective shell, one that keeps pain out, but also keeps life out. And over time, that shell becomes a prison. John, 76, lost his wife of 40 years and didn't leave the house for nearly 5 months. No walks, no calls, no family visits. He said, "Everything outside that door reminded me of her." But one day, A neighbor left a pie on his porch. A simple note read, "You're not forgotten." It broke him, in a good way. He cried for an hour, then picked up the phone. Reconnection doesn't have to be loud. It starts with a single step. A coffee, a call, a short walk. The world won't ever be the same without them, but that doesn't mean it has nothing left for you. Even in grief, connection is medicine. Mistake 3. Suppressing grief instead of feeling it. Some seniors believe that showing grief is a sign of weakness, that crying is for others, that speaking of the one you lost will only make things harder. So you bury it. You keep busy. You clean the house. You cook meals. You go through the motions. But deep down, you're carrying a grief that hasn't been held. And what we don't hold, what we don't feel, stays locked inside, growing heavier with time. Suppressed grief doesn't go away. It leaks out in other forms: irritability, sadness that you can't explain, loss of interest in everything, or even physical pain. Lillian, 82, kept her husband's belongings exactly where he left them. His coat on the hanger, his glasses by the chair. She dusted them weekly but never touched them. She never said his name out loud. For almost a year she lived in silence, holding her grief like a breath she refused to release. One day, she finally broke, not because of anything dramatic, but because she dropped one of his old books. It hit the floor, and so did she. Not from age, but from grief. Her daughter found her sobbing on the floor, holding that book like a lifeline. And in that moment, something opened. Grief demands to be felt. It doesn't want to destroy you. It wants to move through you. It wants you to remember, to cry, to speak their name, to sit with the pain, and then, in time, to find your way through it. You don't need to be strong every moment of the day. You need to be human. Let your grief breathe. Let it be messy. Let it speak. Because healing begins when you stop pretending you're fine. Mistake 4. Letting go of purpose or routine. After a spouse passes, time changes. Days stretch longer. Mornings feel empty. Nights feel even longer. And without someone to care for, plan with, talk to, many seniors slowly let go of their routines. You might stop cooking proper meals, stop getting dressed. You skip church, or your favorite club, or your weekly game night. Because without them, it all feels pointless. But here's the quiet truth. Purpose doesn't end with loss. It shifts. It transforms. And it waits for you to pick it up again. After Carl lost his wife of 38 years, he let everything go. The garden they loved, the painting she encouraged him to do, the friends they used to visit. He said, none of it made sense without her. But over time, the stillness became unbearable. One day, his granddaughter asked, "Can you teach me how to plant tomatoes like Grandma did?" And something inside him lit up. One plant turned into 10. One afternoon turned into a season of purpose. It doesn't take a big event to reignite meaning. Sometimes it's as simple as keeping a promise to yourself, to wake up, get dressed, and do one small thing that brings a spark. Purpose isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, steady, and waiting inside the simplest tasks. Don't let your days drift. Even now, especially now, you still matter. Mistake 5. Avoiding memories instead of honoring them. Sometimes the pain of remembering feels sharper than forgetting. So you avoid the photos, the places you went, the music you danced to, the foods they loved, because each memory feels like a cut. But over time, the avoidance becomes its own kind of grief, a second loss. You're not just without them. You're without their memory too. Memories are not your enemy. They are what remains when the body is gone. They are how love echoes. Ruth, 79, lost her husband to cancer. She couldn't look at their wedding photo, couldn't listen to their favorite record. For 2 years, she kept his box of letters unopened. Then, one rainy day, she opened it. She read one, then another, and when she reached the one that simply read, "If you're reading this, I'm probably already gone," she didn't fall apart. She smiled, because in that moment, she felt him again. Memories may sting, but they also heal. They let you feel the love that death cannot erase. Don't lock away what reminds you of them. Honor it. Create rituals. Speak their name. Share their stories. Because remembering is a form of love, and love, even in absence, is still yours to keep. Mistake 6. Not asking for help. Out of pride or fear. For many seniors, especially those who spent a lifetime being strong for others, asking for help feels like weakness. You think, "I don't want to bother anyone," or "They have their own lives now," or worse, "They'll think I can't handle being alone." So you stay silent. You struggle quietly. You tell your children, "I'm fine." You tell friends, "Don't worry about me." And then, at night, you cry yourself to sleep, alone. But asking for help is not a burden. It is a bridge, one that connects you to those who care about you. Eleanor, 83, hadn't driven since her husband passed. She was afraid of the roads. She missed church. She stopped going to the senior center. One day, she broke down in front of her neighbor and whispered, "I just don't know how to ask." The neighbor held her hand and said, "You don't have to. I'm here." From that day on, Eleanor didn't need to drive, because someone was willing to be there. All she had to do was open the door. People around you want to help. They may not know how, but they're waiting for the signal. A call, a word, a soft, "I could use a hand." Asking for help is not a sign of defeat. It's a sign that you still believe in connection, and in the simple truth that we heal better together. Mistake 7. Believing life no longer has meaning. Perhaps the deepest, most dangerous mistake seniors make after losing a spouse is believing that their life now has no meaning, that the best years are behind them, that the love they had was their only light, that now they are simply waiting for time to pass, for life to end. But hear this, you are still here, which means life still wants something from you. Even if it's quiet, even if it's small, even if it's just sitting in a chair by the window, smiling at a bird outside and whispering, "I see you." Meaning doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to change the world. Sometimes it just means showing up, holding a grandchild's hand, writing a letter, listening to a friend, making a simple meal with care, tending to a rose bush. Robert, 78, lost his wife to a sudden stroke. He said, "She was the reason I got up in the morning." For months, he drifted. Until one day, he saw a woman sitting alone at the park. He sat next to her. They didn't speak, but for a moment he felt something. Presence, stillness, a reminder, "I'm not the only one." He went back the next day. She was there again. A quiet friendship began. Not romantic, not dramatic, just human. Sometimes meaning doesn't shout. It whispers, it taps your shoulder gently, and it says, "You're still alive. Don't stop living." If you've made any of these mistakes, you're not broken. You're grieving. And grief is not a straight line. It's a slow dance between pain and healing, darkness and light, goodbye, and still holding on. But let me tell you something clearly. You are not too old to find joy again. You are not too far gone to feel peace. And it is never, never too late to choose to live again. Your spouse will always be a part of you. Their love doesn't end where their body did, but now you carry their light forward. In every step you take, in every story you tell, in every tear you release. If you're still watching this, if you're still here with me, I want to say thank you. Thank you for trusting me with your heart. Thank you for holding on. And thank you for not giving up on yourself. If this video helped you in any way, please consider clicking the like button. It helps this message reach others who may be silently hurting too. And if you'd like more gentle healing videos like this, stories, truths, reflections made just for you, then please subscribe. You're not alone. You're still here, and your story isn't over yet. Until next time, take care of yourself. And know this, love never truly leaves us. It just changes form and waits for us to notice it again.